What up, what up? Welcome on in to Inside Baylor Sports, the official daily podcast of Baylor Athletics. On today's show, we give you a sneak peek into our exclusive interview with Aaronette Vonle, the newest member of the Baylor women's basketball team. Plus, we look back on the Golden Bruisers 2024 and look ahead to graduation this upcoming month for several of our student athletes. All that and more coming up on the show. Don't forget, you can catch Inside Baylor Sports every weekday. You can also watch the video version for free over at BaylorPlus.com and on the Baylor Athletics YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, rate, and review the pod. And follow Baylor Plus today on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. It's the official content network of Baylor Athletics. Think Netflix for your Baylor Bears. Download the app on your mobile device and sign up for your free 7-day trial today at BaylorPlus.com. It's Thursday, May 2nd, 2024. Justin Hoff alongside the Senior Associate AD for Student Athlete Success, Corey Bolts. Corey, how's your week been going?
It's been good. It's been a busy one, Justin, with classes ending today. Wow, today is the last day of classes. Classes ending today, study day tomorrow, and then finals starting on Saturday. So we're in the busy portion of our semester, and our students are feeling it a little bit too. But it's been good. It's been good. Our job right now is to help provide some encouragement and follow-ups when necessary as they try to end the season for some of our sports, but then end the school year for the majority of our student athletes strong. And that's our hope. That's our goal, is to help them do that and be with them as they work through some stress as it relates to finals and papers and projects and everything else. So lots going on over in our Hires athletic academic complex, but fun times nonetheless.
Keep the lights on over there. I've never asked you about this. So I got a master's from Baylor, but I didn't take an exam on a Saturday. What's the story on the Saturday exams? How come? I mean, a lot of schools just do weekdays.
This is the first place I have ever worked where there were Saturday exams. And that's actually something I asked when I got here. I'm like, what's the deal with these Saturday exams? The people I asked that question to couldn't give me the answer. I need to ask our faculty athletics rep, Carson, and ask him, hey, why did we take exams on Saturday? It seems so odd. Just give the students the weekend to study, and let's come back and do exams Monday through Thursday or Monday through Friday, and then let's graduate on Saturday and be all done. Like, it feels very simple in my brain, but I don't know the answer to why campus chose to go that direction. But I do know for sports like track and field, softball, baseball, that are still competing, tennis is about to be in postseason this weekend, that are still competing over the weekend and now are trying to manage finals on a competition day during the weekend. It's a little bit challenging. So shout out to our academic coaches and those that are helping us help our students navigate that. But it's not ideal from an athletic standpoint. There could be good rationale for it. I just don't know what it is.
Just off the top of my head, this is just a guess. Maybe it gives the professors another day to grade. Maybe just like a cushion for them. But
I can see that.
And you know, on the other side of that, you could possibly start the finals on Friday and not have them on Saturday and give them even an extra day. So I don't know. You have to get to the bottom of that, Corey. But nonetheless, the exams are when the exams are, and you better show up and do a good job. I know our student athletes will. They got great support, and it's not easy to get into Baylor, and so there's great opportunities ahead for them to do great with final exams coming up. It's been a big week for Baylor athletics with some moves in the transfer portal. We caught up with Jeremy Roach yesterday, and today we got the chance to get to know Baylor women's basketball's latest transfer, Aaronette Vonle, in an exclusive interview. Take a listen to a few minutes of that conversation and check out the full conversation over on BaylorPlus.com. We're now joined by the newest member of the Baylor women's basketball team, Aaronette Vonle. Aaronette, we're super excited to have you join us today and officially welcome you to Baylor. What's these past few weeks been like for you?
It's been pretty crazy up until I committed, just trying to figure out what I want for my last year. But I'm just glad and thankful that I was given the opportunity by Coach Nikki, and I'm just excited to get out there.
Okay, the transfer portal. It seems like it's a wild place. Is it as wild as it appears looking from the outside in?
Definitely. It's just crazy. Phones constantly ringing, a bunch of text messages. And then all the visits, it can be tiring, but it's definitely worth it. I think the transfer portal is a great tool that we have access to.
For sure. What are we looking at? Like, how many schools reach out to you? Are you getting text messages, calls, emails? How's that go down?
Like all of the above. I don't know exactly how many schools reached out, but it was definitely a lot. I remember just being overwhelmed the first couple days. But after I kind of filtered through and made connections with different schools, it got a lot simpler.
Okay, so you choose Baylor and Coach Nikki, as you said, Nikki Collin. What ultimately made you choose Baylor as your final destination of final season for college basketball?
It just felt like the right fit. Just after talking with all the coaches, especially Coach Nikki, and just kind of getting to see a picture of where I'd fit in and what my role would be and how I could expand my game there. It just made the most sense. And when I went on my visit, the team was super cool, very inviting, made me feel like I was at home. And so overall, just felt like the best fit.
Yeah, it's funny, Corey. The team is a big part of the recruiting process, right? They meet them, and as she was saying, that was part of the reason why she chose Baylor.
Yeah, it's very interesting to hear her talk about her experience in the portal. There's so much conversation right now around transfers, the opportunity now for student athletes to transfer as much as they like. And what we don't often hear the narrative of, Justin, is the experience of those students as they are navigating all of that. And to hear her share with you the piece on lots of calls, lots of texts, emails. It was overwhelming for me in those first couple of days. It's just very interesting for me to digest that from the student side. And it also makes me realize how important it is for Baylor to be able to distinguish ourselves as we're having those conversations with prospective student athletes, and how are we cutting through the clutter to find the talent and to find the people that we desire. And I think our competitive edge is our people. I really do. So to hear her say the team is what made Baylor my spot. Talking to Coach Nikki and the coaches is what made Baylor my spot. You can see that people are our greatest asset. That's something our athletic director says a lot, and we have a committee with that same language and tagline, but it's so true. And I just wonder, like, man, of all the calls she was getting, like, what if she chose to not answer the phone, right? Like, if I'm getting inundated by information and people reaching out, I'm just not answering this phone call. I'm just not doing that. So shout out also to our coaches for their diligence and their persistence and their resilience in navigating the portal and going out and finding the right Baylor fits. But man, what I hear when I hear that, and I hear of her experience, is that our coaches' jobs are really, really hard. The student athletes entering the transfer portal have a lot that's going in their brains as they're trying to make decisions, and that we are a special place, and we have to make sure that people feel that when they're talking to us. And clearly she felt it, which is so encouraging.
Again, you can check out the full conversation with Aaronette Vonleh now exclusively over on BaylorPlus.com. The link for that is in this podcast episode's description. She mentioned there the text, the emails, the calls. Yeah, I mean, it sounds stressful being in that portal, but also, it's an exciting time because you got a bunch of people that want you, right? And everybody, as humans, we want that, right? You want to be wanted, but what's the best way to contact you, Corey? Email, text, call. What do you like for form of message? Because, a lot of these young people, it's definitely going to be a text message, probably.
It's definitely going to be a text message. Our students are quick to hop on a text message chain for sure. I think it depends on what we're needing to be contacted about. So if I need to make sure I have a way to respond or revisit something, I'll ask for an email because it's a lot easier for me to track on that. Sometimes my text messages can get lost. So I would say email or phone call would be the easiest. If you're trying to get me, call me. Call me, see what's going on. If you've already emailed and I missed it, call or text me. Because to her point of lots coming in, for professionals, email is the preferred method of communication for a lot of people. So then that email just gets bogged down, and we try our best to stay on top of what we're doing, but inevitably people will get behind. So it does not hurt my feelings for people to remind me, check in on things, call me, text me. None of that hurts my feelings. But if you want me to make sure I do something, you should probably email me.
We're two very busy individuals. And so I know emails, you have to go back and check your inbox. And you're like, man, I know I read this, but I didn't respond. It was I try to be good, but Corey, there's been a few times I've been a little slow on your response. So I'll do my best. Just know I see it. And I almost do this. Here's a cheat sheet.
Oh, yeah,
And
come on.
cheat code. So, a lot of times when you get the email, you got a thought, but there's another thing going on. So you can't respond right away, right? You want to do it professionally and want to think it out and have a good email.
Right.
Well, I'll just type in a few scribble letters. So get it in the draft. And then I'll check my drafts and I know those are ones I got to respond to. So that's something I picked up this year. Is ultra busy. But I'm trying to do better there. But yeah, I would say, hey, how bad in this case with Aaronette, I'd call her. If you wanted her, call her
up.
Yeah, because when you do the text message, you don't know on the other line when they're going to respond, but you call her, you want to be the first in there if you can. So it's just very interesting how it all kind of comes together. It's kind of fascinating, but I'm happy I'm not in the portal. And Jerry Hill said yesterday, man, it probably took you 6 years to finish college. You're in the portal multiple times. I was like, no, come on, Jerry.
Yeah, I do not envy the portal experience at all. I would want no parts of that. And I'm glad I don't have to navigate it. But I do, going back to your point when you were talking about the feeling of being wanted, I think it's something cool to be able to experience several different schools and people being interested in you and having that as an option, because some people will enter the portal and they won't have an Arinet experience. They won't have the level of interest or desire that she had the privilege of being able to work through. So that comment is a great one, Justin, around the fact that being wanted is a privilege. Yep, it can be stressful. Yeah, it may have been a little overwhelming, but what an awesome opportunity to be in. And yay for Baylor for being on the winning end of that experience for her.
According to Jeff Goodman from the Field of 68, on the men's side, just under 1,900 players hit the portal this spring. And that's so obviously not factoring the women's side. And, generally this is what happens between guys going to the NBA, players who have exhausted their eligibility, plus the transfer portal. On average, most teams are 50 to 60% turnover rate. So it's, you're building a new team pretty much every year. But what's not said is about how many players, as you kind of alluded to, do not sign with the team. And so, yes, Aaronette Vonleh is one of the top centers in America. She knows she's going to have a home, but there's several others that are kind of in that gray area fringe, and maybe their experience isn't quite like Aaronette, and you're sweating it out and you're trying to get to a school and play and continue your dream, but there might not be a scholarship for you.
That's the part right there, Justin. There may not be a scholarship for you. And I was looking at some preliminary statistics earlier this week, specifically related to the transfer portal. And it was showing the percentage, these were last year's data, but it was showing the percentage of students that enter the portal having aid, and then the percentage of them that were placed at a new place and still had aid. And the reality is the place at a new place and still had aid was not 100%. So there are people, and I don't even think it was over 60%. So there's a good number of our student athletes that are wanting to experience something different for whatever the reasons may be. And they may be very valid reasons, but the portal is a risk. And I don't think that can go unnoticed either. You said what, 1,600? Is that the number you just rattled out? 1,600?
Just under 1,900 for the men.
Oh, 1,900. Yeah. I'm sorry. I was 300 off. 1,900 young people or young men. Well, we were talking about the men. Basketball student athletes entered the portal. Of those 1,900, I'd be curious on how many were on aid. Basketball is a head count sport, so you're on full scholarship. So how many are on full scholarship? And then of those 1,900, how many find a home, one, but then also find a home and still have a full scholarship? Yeah, it's interesting. And what's going to be really interesting, Justin, is to see how these trends and statistics evolve now that you have legislation that allows for you to transfer with a lot greater ease. And to your point, what that then means for teams and the cultures of those teams, when you're traditionally accustomed to having about 70 to 80% of your team return every year, and now you're going more into a season where you could have 50 to 60 or maybe 40 to 60 of your team returning, and everybody else is new, whether it be new freshmen or new transfers. And then what coach does that then mean for what you're trying to do from a team standpoint and your team dynamics and your goals for that year and all of that. So it's intriguing. I cannot wait to be a fly on the wall in some of this and just see how we navigate the new world and how transfers is impacting that. But I do think there's some pieces here that are making our coaches' jobs a lot more difficult. But I also think there could be, when you figure out the code and figure out what works, there could be some great opportunity with the talent you're able to bring in and what that means for your program. So it'll be interesting, Justin. We're along for the ride on this one.
We are, and it's a bit of a roller coaster. And yeah, you just want to have a very attractive program with a lot of positives. And if you have that, more often than not, good things are going to happen to you. And it's not apples to apples, Corey, but it's almost like in some cases, let's say the job market is really, really open in certain industries. You quit your current job to hit the job market to go out somewhere else. It's not apples to apples because there's not a situation quite like that. But, generally in the professional world, you don't quit your current job until you got a second job ready, your new job. And so it's and there's certainly some of that. You see some do not contact in the portal. Right. And, not that we want to go down that slippery slope, all that crazy stuff, but it's a wild world out there. But what we can focus on is what is in front of us, what's been going on here at Baylor Athletics. And just recently, the Golden Bruisers 2024 completed a really great event, super successful. What was it like?
It was absolutely phenomenal. I have to give a huge, huge shout out to Crystal Peterson. She's our assistant athletics director for character formation, and she was the chair of the working group that helped put this on. She worked closely with members of our athletic department and our student athlete advisory committee to bring to life the student athlete's vision of doing a red carpet premiere. They wanted to elevate the experience of our Golden Bruisers Awards show, and that's their vision. And Crystal worked with Mariah Polk and her crew to really bring that to life. And what was so neat about the experience is it's one of the few times where the entire department is together, all student athletes, all of our coaches, some of our support staff, some people within the department. And we get the opportunity to reflect on the year and to celebrate our successes in our 4 pillars of our athletic department. We're celebrating academic achievement, we're celebrating athletic successes, we're celebrating how student athletes have grown holistically through some of the character formation efforts that we have, and then also looking at their spiritual formation and their growth during their time here as well. And there are awards that relate to those 4 pillars. So it's just a fun night of being able to get your actual Golden Bruiser and be celebrated by and in front of your peers. So it was great. We hosted it at the Hurd Welcome Center, and that was our first time hosting it there. And the venue was absolutely phenomenal for that. And the student athletes loved everything that was planned from the pre-show. They had a red carpet with grass wall and photo opportunities and 360 photo booths and food and all kinds of stuff. So they were, in my opinion, living their best lives. And I thought that the show went well, and there were student athletes that were serving as presenters of the awards, and we had a host that was a Baylor grad that also works for CBS and has covered Baylor sports and worked in the Baylor athletics department as a student worker when he was here. So just some fun little things that were Baylor tied and connected. But overall, just a great way to have some fun towards the end of the school year and truly pause and celebrate the great things that are happening in Baylor athletics. And that's an event that forces us to do that. I don't know how often we do that in our different silos, whether it be units or sports, but that event allows us to just pause for a moment and do that. And it was a lot of fun.
So you have that, and then you
hmm
have final exams, right? And then after that, you get that diploma, you walk the stage. Hopefully don't trip. I know it's a little scary.
Hopefully,
You
don't
don't,
trip.
you don't need to do that. I'm always worried about doing that or seeing someone fall off the stage. But graduation just around the corner, and the spring is typically the bigger of the two graduations. So we have a lot of athletes that will finish out their degree here at Baylor coming up this month.
We do. We have 83 student athletes between spring and summer. We'll celebrate both at the event we do this spring. But yes, 83 student athletes graduating and will be participating in our graduate celebration. Part of the reason we do that, Justin, is because several of our sports will be competing on graduation day. And we wanted to make sure we celebrated and honored them for their academic achievements specifically, because graduating with your degree, whether it be a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, is a significant accomplishment. And we didn't want them to miss the opportunity to celebrate that. So, yes, I don't know who thought it was a good idea for us to do two large events back to back like this, but did the Golden Bruisers Awards show this Sunday. We'll do the graduate celebration for our student athletes, and we'll have some student athlete speakers, and we'll have some gifts that we provide to them to recognize their accomplishments. But one of the things I love that I don't even know how many people within our department know that we do this. You know this, Justin, because your team helps, but we do a photo shoot for our graduating seniors. And lots of time, energy, and effort goes into that. And I think about when I graduated, Justin, how important my graduate photos were, and to know that we offer that to our student athletes, and they can do it in their cap and gown. They can also have their sports stuff with them so they can get some athletic geared pictures as well. They could take pictures with their peers that are also graduating. I mean, y'all's team does a phenomenal job with that. But to have that and to be able to give that to parents and to be able to use that in graduation announcements or in posts about the accomplishment that they will be getting once they finish their finals the next couple of days. I mean, that's just such an awesome thing that we do. And I'm so grateful that we're able to provide that to our students. And we show some of those pictures at the grad celebration. It's what's utilized to help put together our program. And it's what we'll end up utilizing in social media. But it's such a neat thing that probably goes unnoticed to most. But I just want to use this platform to celebrate and acknowledge the work of you and your team. But then also let people know that, hey, start looking at social medias once it gets close to graduation, and you'll see some nice pictures of our young men and our young women that show them in a way we might not used to see them. We're used to seeing the athletic jerseys and all of that. This will show them in a different light, and it'll speak to a large part of what their experience was, because we can't forget that student is before athlete, and that's for a reason. And that this for many is the start to the rest of their lives. And how awesome that we get to be a part of that.
Yeah, and that Baylor degree means something, right? They don't just hand that out like candy. It's it means a lot, and so getting that, whether it's, as you said, bachelor's or master's, is really big time. And we have 500 plus student athletes, and so 83. I mean, that's a large number. But yeah, if you're paying attention on social media, you get to see somebody there, and I'm sure there's going to be a few comments like, "Wow, you're graduating already." I will say, however, and Jerry was super excited about this, Aaronette Vonleh next year. She's a true senior. So the COVID year is past it. Her first season was 21-22. She will graduate, or she will exhaust her eligibility after 4 years. So played 4 years basketball and done. What a concept, right? You play 4 and it's over.
That's we're actually returning to that. That sounds great.
Do it. Yeah, that's official.
Man, we've been in such this time warp of extended time. It's a rarity to have somebody play 4 years and also graduate within 4 years. That's phenomenal. Love that.
Yeah, it's a new day. COVID behind us, but yeah, looking forward to the graduations coming up later this month. A lot of exciting things. Obviously, a lot of competition still left here in Waco, and also on the road as NCAA championships begin for a lot of our spring seasons. That'll do it for today's edition of Inside Baylor Sports, a Sport and Story production. Thanks for listening. For Corey Bolts, I'm Justin Hoff. Have a great Thursday, and Sickle Bears.